So talking about clusters, when in the history of the American Pitbull Terrier, the breed generally was blessed when there were clusters. Okay, and those clusters most of the time came from our crosses. I have had about 7 clusters in my breeding program, something that is not common to men. I don't know whoever else had so many clusters. The only thing I regret is the fact that I was not able to develop the entire cluster all the time, and many dogs did not get maximized. You know, I was like blessed to like get Gasolina bag and other dogs and then maximize them, because in the hands of other people, those dogs will be absolutely nobody. And without Gasolina, there is no Ciega the Great, and there is all those other things. So when we look at the clusters, it's just incredible. Like, I was thinking about the Red Boy dogs, and I'm not talking about every Red Boy dog because I really don't care about every Red Boy dog, but some specific Red Boy dogs that had the power to create greatness in some litters. And I will say that we used to be the best bloodline to do our cross, okay? But the reason why people need to have our crosses is because what they have currently is not working. That's one of the reasons why people go into an outcross. And that's why you see so many thugs, lowlife scumbags. They come in and say, what bloodline you're running? What bloodline you're running? They're always into this, what bloodline you're running, because whatever they have in what they have is not giving an outcome. So what most of these mooks have as a problem is that they always have a donkey. They're always riding on a donkey, and they're asking what bloodline you're running, because if you like the bloodline you have, they say, I want to get some of the shit you got, man. And they want to put it in whatever donkey they have. So you could be in a racehorse, and they always think about, let me get that racehorse and put some of my donkey females so I can have some of the shit, take it next level, man. I'm going to show you how I'm going to take it to the next level, bro. Huh? And so this is the problem. This is the problem with these geniuses in the breed. And this happens with Latinos, with whites, with blacks. So don't think you're so special, Chico. Chico is picking on our kind. Now, motherfucker, I'm stupid, okay? And stupid, you sound in a special way. And I'm not making this video in Spanish. I'm making it in English. So I'm going to more stupid how they sound to me like. So going forward, when you have these clusters, what a cluster is, think about this. And I have made videos about clusters before, because some of you people don't understand what a cluster is, and I want to educate you to. Not because I want you to be breeders, because you're not going to be able to create clusters. I can tell you that right now. Get that out of your head. This is not a master class for mooks that want to become breeders. Okay, not going to happen to you. Clusters happen to different type of people. And it usually happens through long times of study, because a lot of times for most people it's an outcross, but that outcross makes sense after a long time of continuous improvement. Even if it's a little bit, they can be improved. It's not for the guy that is a bricklayer and has 1 year experience and 29 years of repetition and come and tell you, man, 30 years of being a bricklayer, I'm a professional. No. You have 1 year experience and 29 years of repetition.
Be a professional bricklayer. You're not going to be.
But only 1 year you become professional. In 1 year you learn everything you need to learn, right? So let me give you this understanding. How the breed is based on clusters. You look at Honey Bunch and Jeep, Charlie, Molly, Holly. That was a cluster. So how clusters work is like this. Imagine that you have this round thing. They used to call it the lottery. You guys probably don't understand this because you come in the digital world. But the lottery, it was like the Matrix, right? It was a ball made out of mesh wire. So it's a huge ball. You can see the balls from the outside. So if you spin this ball, then you have all these balls spinning, right? So when you play the lottery, they'll put 100 balls of white color that have numbers from 00 to 99. And so they spin this ball randomly. And when they stop, some balls will drop, and that's the lottery number, which means it happened randomly on equal size balls, same color, same everything, and that's how you get the lottery. That's winning the lottery. When it comes to genetics, imagine you got the same how do you call it, a ball, the same mash ball of metal. So I'm painting a picture in your head. I hope you're smart enough to even paint a picture in your damn head. And then you take buckets, those buckets, and you have balls of all colors. You have one yellow, one pink, one purple, one red, one blue, yellow, black, all these different balls, right? Blacks. And you come in and you spin them. So if you stop the machine from spinning and you get out of it 10 balls, the 10 balls should be usually one of each color. Okay? A cluster will be if when you stop the machine, you have 7 reds. That's is abnormal. And let's suppose that those color balls are genetics. Some of them high quality genetics, some shit quality genetics. Let's call the black ones shit quality genetics. Let's call the white ones shit quality genetics. Let's call the red ones high quality genetic. The yellow ones high quality genetics. If the machine stops and you get 6 red ones, 3 yellow ones, 1 black one, 1 white one, you have higher percentage of high quality because you got the yellow, the red at a higher numbers, and the white one and the black one that are shit at a lower number. But if you have the opposite, and you have all white, all black, and just a little red, a little yellow, then you got the wrong dog. And sometimes in some people's litters, you are getting puppies that they have half yellow, half black, half white, half red. So, chances are very poor. But you have a cluster when most of the puppies will be high on red, high on yellow. Okay? So that's a cluster. But then when you have a cluster, usually, you all the time, not usually, you are going to need a man that will be able to know what developing is. They don't know. They don't know because they learn in the swamp schools. Before they used to have a mentor. That's how it used to work. They have a mentor, and that mentor was someone that impressed them as a young buck coming in to learn stuff with the dogs, and they impressed by this guy, and I'm the protege of this guy, and let's say these fools used to talk like this kind of like female talk, very submissive, and then you got the other submissive stuff, which is like, I went to the forum and I learned from the guys and so forth, and they ask, I got this female coming in, who should I breed it to? And I got a female, she's going to give birth, I don't know what to do. This is the modern stupid kennels. And they call themselves kennels because they are so weak that their name means nothing. So they got to come up with these fantasy names, so delusional, like I am hardcore mega kennels, mega super kennels, the evolution of the shit kennels, a sniper in the night, body snatchers of the death, night of the night. They go to the movies, they see a movie, they like the name of the character, John Wick kennels. And so we get these men, they're absolutely weak, and they come up with this kind of shit. They don't want to put the work because putting the work is so difficult. That's why they love treadmills. Because the treadmill is cool, the dog running in, hey, yeah, running, yeah, take a picture, yeah, my dog, yeah. And they destroy their dogs. Hand walking is for real men, and it's very difficult for them. They don't want to do that. It takes a real man to go work your dog. So most people don't know shit about dogs. Okay? I am coining the phrase, most people don't know shit about dogs, from Chico Lopez. I'm going to give credit to the uncle of Mayweather, who coined for himself, most people don't know shit about boxing. So I am Chico Lopez, and I'm coining right now, in front of your asses, you don't know shit about boxing, because if you compare you versus me, trust me, I am the master, you're not even the student. And I'm not saying this to put you down, because I want you guys to learn. I assume that the majority of people listening to this are actually good students. But there's some swampers around here. Let me check what Chico's saying, man. Let me see if I can put my 2 cents on his shit, man. Motherfucker be talking shit about us, man. Let me take a look. So for those, you don't know shit about boxing. And for the good students, my man, welcome. Coming in. The church is open. I'm going to pray. I'm going to preach. Coming in. I'm cooking. Come into the kitchen. The food is good. You're going to learn. Your brains are going to get a lot of great information for you to become better dog owners. I'm not saying that you will become breeders, because you're not. You're not going to be able to become great breeders. Period. It's over. But at least you need to know where the dogs came from. And that's why I'm talking to you about this topic right now. So you're smart, rather than like, I don't know where the dog came from. Yeah, this bloodline, this pedigree, the outcross. So the outcross is a tool that brings vigor to the crossing, because you get some new stuff on the stuff that's not working. And sometimes, not all the times, these outcross might work. And because most time don't work, that's why what bloodline you're running, because most of the time don't work. Let me prove to you that the breed was made out of clusters. Some clusters are quality producers clusters, and some clusters are quality performing clusters in the past. Talking about the past, the long past. I'm promoting great dog owners, but I want them to be knowledgeable. So in the past, talking about the 1980s, we're talking about an outcross of Honey Bunch into a dog called Bo. You believe it or not, I'm going to tell you something. Most of these great bloodlines in the past, the breeders were so crappy, so shit. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. Earl Tudor, with all his years, all his mighty, the grandfather, listen, the guy suck ass. I have to tell you the truth. I respect him and everything else, but the man said that great dogs, good, not even great, good dogs are where you find them. That means not even his dogs he trusted. Whatever he found one, he got it. And I will tell you one of the reasons why this happened. So one of the reasons why this happened is because they don't know what will come out. They shooting crap. So breeding dogs shooting crap. You never know how good a puppy going to be. A puppy, all these different hooligan talk that I never purchased in it. I went against that. I wanted to be an agent of difference. And so as these men come up with this BS, you look at the grand majority of these famous dogs, like you look at Jeep, he almost quit. You look at the father of Honey Bunch, of Jeep, I'm sorry, a quitter. You look at the famous snooty dogs that have guys that cut their shirts. I got a snooty dog. Motherfucker quit twice. Let that sink in. Rascal quit. Vindicator quit. Eli quit. Bullison quit. And we can go on and on and on about all these quitters. So, oh yeah, I got Eli dogs. Go take a look at the back. So, on the point of correction, when I started back in 1990 and I had my dog with no papers, no pedigree, nothing, he was great. It was a blessing to me because I was not married to the idea of the pedigree. I was not married to that idea. I was married to the idea of only the best from the very beginning. And I was looking for high performance in groups of clusters so I wouldn't waste time. And so I understood that Honey Bunch had that cluster, and with Bo, which was a loser. Back, we are here with Jeep. Jeep, me see all that, that's a cluster. I told you I was going to tell you about clusters, right? There was, for a long time, that's the only thing people talk about. There were other dogs, other halfway curs, man biters. So a lot of people had these dogs that were not really quitters, but they were man biters. So you're against the wall with a man biter or a quitter. So people go with the man biter Chinaman. And then they inbreed on the man biter because they like the way he's producing. When you don't have opportunities, you don't create opportunities for yourself, you end up in that deadlock, okay? So you look at this. Jeep came from a cluster. Then there was an empty space. You have Hollingsworth, as mighty as his name is and respect that I have for him, he had a cluster of producers that could have been, I am assuming that could have been all producers. I actually not saying that. They looked to me like they could have been producers with the Jasso Cody breeding that Dolly came from. I'm assuming that was a semi-cluster. And then the cluster of Grand Champion Mayday, Champion Dragon Lady, and Champion Choice. Hollingsworth dropped all the black dogs to move into red dogs to the point he hated the black dogs. Acar had black dogs when he got the Mayday and the red dogs, and he dropped those black dogs as well. And so Mayday was the hottest cluster ever after Jeep, but that cluster came from another cluster that was also very hot. Is the cluster of a triple bred red boy dog called Yellow John and Miss Jacko. And Miss Jacko came from a cluster herself. And this is what I'm talking about, cluster over cluster. If you pay attention to the cluster over cluster, and that breeding of Jacko, there was a dog called Argo. And that litter was a hot litter. There were goodness in there. There was a bucket where they had reds and yellow balls. And that's where that came from. So when you took a dog that is out of inbred, this was an inbred of Jacko, and you breed it back to an inbred red boy, boom, you get Grand Champion Yellow, Grand Champion JR, and STP's Champion Sassy. And my stuff come out of Sassy, which is Sassy Lady from Yellow and Sassy, and it comes out of Yellow and Dolly. That's where my dogs come from. Mayday and those leaders. Everything from Cheyenne through Tarna and through the Hollingsworth dogs of Hollingsworth. That's where they come from. But then I wanted to have something out of the cluster of Jeep through Honey Bunch. And it was really, really difficult because I had to raise like 50 dogs to get to a good one. Not a great one, a good one. But then eventually I got to great ones. But then I took them to a better line when I was able to completely do an outcross. That was my outcross. Mechanic Buck is my outcross. Bagman is line breeding. But I created clusters over clusters out of my own bloodline. And people are like, oh yeah, but Chico got his dog from somewhere. But everybody that got dogs at the same time I got from similar sources, they all are paled in comparison to my success. Pale means they are nobody compared to my success. And I tried the Barracuda dogs over 50, didn't work out, didn't make the cut. You like them, but where are your numbers? You are pale in compared to me. Yeah. So it is the same thing with Hunch, the same thing with this, and they try to imitate me. You know, I was using the seminar shorty, they run and they buy whatever they can find, and they fail. They see me with a daughter of Crash. They're all buying daughters of Crash and buying the Hollingsworth semen, and they all fail in comparison. It's always compared to what? One of the formulas that always helped me when I started in the dogs was compared to what? I compared this man versus this man, the merits of this man versus the merits of this man. That's how I work. I don't work like, I like this guy, I think he's nice, he sounds nice. I don't believe in equality when it comes to dogs. I believe in superiority. I believe one better than the other one. Only the best, F the rest. I am in the business of rejection. Rejecting everything that is not the best and putting together everything that's the best. And requires men that are able to understand these and being able to breed the best dogs with the best dogs. And many men, you can give them the best in their hands. And they can have some experience. And sometimes the experience they already have is what fucked them. And sometimes you can put brand new experience on them. And somehow life gets on the way. And somehow they are as good as a one-time winner. And all these great dogs, kennel accidents, blah, these, that, a whole bunch of shit, blah, blah. And everybody's a dreamer until they try and they fail. A lot of people, the internet is full of dreamers and critics of great dogmen, and they like to talk, and some of them are such scumbags that they are so weak that they call themselves, let me give you stupid guys like Fernando Carver, motherfucker. Carver didn't fuck your mother. You are not Carver. Okay, you wish Carver did fuck your mama, you be Carver. Yeah. Then you have fools like Air Tutor online. Air Tutor, really? Your name is so shit that you gotta call yourself Air Tutor. And you ask these pretenders who they are nobodies, but they always have an opinion about somebody. And you have Mr. APBT, whatever. I coined the phrase in 2010, real APBT, real American Pitbull Terrier, real Pitbull, to teach people that the grand majority are fake Pitbulls. And it takes time. You can't, the IQ is so low. You understand? Trust me when I tell you this. They don't have the IQ. They all have this adrenaline to do something. But the adrenaline is limited. The first time they're against adversity, the first time they're against failure, first time they're against losing, and you need to go back and recoup, go back and rethink, they don't do it. They prioritize on their girlfriend, they prioritize on their car. All of a sudden, yeah, I thought about this, I changed my mind. So people love to talk, but they don't got the numbers. The numbers. No, it's not the numbers, it's the numbers. The numbers. Los números en español, los números. Sí, los números, cabrón, los fucking números. The numbers. They don't have the numbers. You go back and you audit them. They don't know how to audit themselves. They are complete mooks. They are the judge, the jury of everyone except themselves. They always question somebody else. They never question themselves. They never ask themselves, who am I, what I have done, how much am I worth in the dog world? Because if they do that, they will drop the dogs and move somewhere else. They are nobody. And so the clusters, I look at Akert. Mayday was not his cluster, was Hollingsworth's cluster, but he did create his own clusters. Like, for example, the Mayday Blondie breeding. That was a great cluster of producers, and performers too. And could it become rum only by that? But he was not in a position to raise the litter. So he passed on the litter to somebody else. And most of them were weak pretenders, like the owner of Macho One Time Winner, Macha, and what was the name of the other dog? Champion Hannah. They wasted 3 top prospects dogs completely. Macho frozen to death. Macha cooked to death. And the other one just helpless, let her die. Those guys are absolutely trash. 3 scumbags, 2 little twin brothers that look like little sisters, and the other hooligan, backwards, redneck, criminal, crackhead, motherfucker. They're all like that. So you got those individuals, the trash. That's why I call it a swamp. And then he had the opportunity when he bred Mayday to Barracuda, the leader of Barracuda, the dogs like Lucane around, some of them better than others. But what they run off, and then the leader of Champion Annabelle, Champion Isabel, Bonita, and Hercules, that was a semi-cluster. Not a clusters like the one where Chilindrina was born, or clusters like where Sarabelle was born, or clusters like Atos was born, or clusters like Janjan and Cheyenne. You need to develop clusters. It takes time, it takes knowledge, it takes understanding. But the guys that are not in the clusters, the breeders, or the men that are fundamental of the idea of the clusters to be created, those men are not, they are either great dog owners, or they move from being a great owner into being a great pretender. They are users of the clusters. Think about how many people was behind helping Jeep to become rum. Thousands and thousands of people doing all this. Where are they now? Bye-bye Charlie. Nothing happened. They wasted their time. There's only few men that matter in the breed in the long run. When it comes to the breed, to go to the next step. When it comes to the breed, for evolution. When it comes for the breed, for having growth. Now, you could be a great dog owner. That'll be that you're smarter than most men. because you didn't raise 30 to 40 dogs in chains, never enjoy a great dog in your home, never allow your kids to have great dogs, because you take a great dog and you raise it as a pet and you enjoy that dog as a pet. That's what it takes. Clusters is what it takes to develop a breed. And those clusters don't come in by chance. I don't want to mention a couple of clusters that made a group of men very famous, and they had a 40-year run based out of one cluster. They were never able to develop more clusters. And what they did is they inbred on what they had at the clusters, and they were never able to go to a different route. Mechanic Buck for sure is one amazing dog that made clusters himself, more than once. And if you look at the other dogs that are raised like the Bagman, which requires really dedicated men, because Bagman dogs are high maintenance dogs, and also Mayday are high maintenance dogs. But if I didn't take my dedication to create those dogs, I will be stuck only with Mechanic Buck, Awesome Buck, and then I will be looking for clusters. I had to do the hard work at the same time because I had the vision to go forward without looking for clusters, without looking for outcrosses. I did my own work within myself. So on that point, some people might say Chico is a genius because the first dog he ever had was a grand champion. And then he created all these grand champions, all these rums, travel around the world, did all these great things, and has a consistent bloodline of great dogs that all of them are not pets. They are, let me tell you these, super pets. People that had Labradors, people that had Rottweilers, people that had dogs from the so-called game dogs, Red Boy, blah, 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 all this shit. When they get one of my dogs, they say, no, Chico, your dog is not a good pet. It's a great freaking pet. I never had a dog like that. But what it took to make these great dogs, it was a great amount of clusters put together in it. And those clusters don't come by chance. They come from planning. They come from great minds. They come from very elite men. Between here and the 1970s, there is just a few peak mountains at the top where there are those men that actually matter to the breed. The rest of the people are down at the valleys. Some of them are great dog owners that mean fuel for the breed, because help the breeders to continue making breedings and enjoy themselves and impulse their children to be influenced by the greatest dogs. And then the rest is the freaking swamp. Trash. I hope you learn from this and don't be delusional. Breeding dogs don't have equality. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And I'll tell you a little secret. With everything that I know today, 2024, if I was going to start from zero, if I was going to start with the dogs I have, I wouldn't be able to have the success that I got. Because where I came from, the mold to all the stuff is absolutely gone. Being able to take chaos into concept is a gift for men. When you look at different men looking at a picture, they go to the movies and they laugh and they smile, and they didn't get the main base of the movie. They miss the main stories behind the plot. Those are the majority people. It takes a really smart person to go to the movies, watch the movie, and come back and see something that the rest of the other men didn't see, and that was what matters the most.